KBLA swag. For the best in merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store right now. And be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all our official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580, at 20% off, but only during the holiday season. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Yeah, coming right back at ya with a different type of swing, you know. Something for the honeys. You better ask somebody. Something for the honeys. Baby, this is for you, and definitely you. I'm the type of guy who takes time to just kick back. I turn around my baseball cap. I have a 40 sitting on my lap, slamming the ivories until I seize a female worth my while. I'm scoping that ass, checking her smile, and I know that I can get it and I'll hit it if she's with it. I get the 5 to the 6, 7 digits, call her up on my cellular, and all the shit that I'll say to her. The fun will begin when I hit the skizzin'. Yeah. So if a girlie is lonesome, I think that she knows where to go when she wants some. Cause money ain't here for nothing, but I got a little some for the money.
Montel Jordan, this song, it really sounds like when it came out. This song sounds really 94. I remember the video. This is the video they shot it on the golf course. They were over there with the carts. I remember I wanted to go to that video shoot so bad because I knew it was going to be lit. I did not, though. It happens. It happens. You know, is this one of the songs that Montel doesn't like, has relieved himself of? Because I know, you know, he was like super Christian and he said he didn't like performing some of his songs at one time period. I watched like one of his, the TV One thing story or whatever. This was a while ago, but there was a period of time where he said he did not like performing his songs because he felt that you know, some of them were written, they were too worldly, you know, it's too much into the world, and that's not where he was at that time period. So shout out to him though, because This Is How We Do It is like, I wonder if it's Diamond. I never thought about that. We know it's used so much in commercials and things like that. I know that he wrote it. I wonder if he retained his publishing. But that's that's another song that, you know, it was a bop. It was amazing when it came out. I don't want to hear it anymore. But that's me. I just burnt myself out on it. Not because it's a bad song or because I think there's anything wrong with it. Just, you know, sometimes your appetite for things, if you eat too much candy, you get a tummy ache. So sometimes you just listen to songs too much and you get a little tummy ache. Is it a Diamond?
It's only platinum.
Really?
I'm very surprised by that.
I am too. Like, not even, that song I feel like is used everywhere. I wonder if he held on to his publishing or if he had already sold it like early on when it came out, because I feel like that song is like one of those songs that, you know, in 2060, Montel Jordan could go to the moon and perform This Is How We Do It. You know, someone would still be requesting that. I think people that have those type of hits in their catalogs are pretty lucky. Oh, I shouldn't call it luck, right? That's their expertise, but I think it's a nice thing to have. So Forensic Accountant says, just a tip, pulse oximeters, extremely basic and ubiquitous medical devices. They do not work as well on people with darker skin because melanin in skin can interfere with the absorption of light. Thank you for that. That's true. So basically what you're saying is get the deal on the cheaper Apple Watch because we don't need those, the oxygen monitors. We'll have to see it. You know, Apple is always, I guess that's what happens when you're the top dog, right? You're always kind of embroiled in some type of patent thing, some type of accusations of overstepping boundaries and monopoly. So we'll have to see what evolves from that situation. Okay, so I thought this was an interesting story. And really, like, I want to know what you guys think about it in the chat. And Andy, I want to know what you think about it too. So, in a recent interview, 21 Savage, because 21 Savage is now officially an American citizen. He's embarking on his first European tour. There are different aspects of his career he's allowed to step into because he is taking care of his citizenship, right? So, he was being interviewed, and he said, and they asked him about his friendship with Drake. And he said he feels like describing male friendships is zesty as hell. And I was just like, what? He said that I feel like describing male friendships is zesty as hell. That there could be even something feminine or gay, as zesty can read as derogatory slang, about articulating the details of a male friendship that speaks to the stigmas, taboos, and expectations that isolate men and stifle their expression. I feel like I agree. What is wrong with saying, that's my dog, that's my boy, he held me down? Why does it always have to be? What is wrong with expressing love for a homeboy or a friend? I mean, I don't know. Y'all go through stuff. You say you don't love women, so why not just say, I support you, that's my dog? Why does it have to be zesty? Why is friendship thought in those terms?
Sounds like he's questioning his own sexuality.
You think so? You think that's where it's coming from?
I mean, honestly, no. But, I mean, for him to have that stance, it just, if I had to psychoanalyze it, you probably questioning your sexuality.
Latent homosexual thoughts,
yeah,
maybe.
I mean,
something.
I don't think he's homosexual or anything like that, but for him to even say that, especially in these times now where you're hearing from men that, we should be more, not emotional, it's the wrong term to use, but
vulnerable.
Just vulnerable, boom. Be vulnerable with your homies, be like, yeah, man, I got love for you. You know what I'm saying? People are dying at at crazy rates right now. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, it saddens me because, like I saw this video that was floating around social media, and it was like a woman, and she was like, black men, who do you go to when you need to relieve everything or, basically vent, let everything out? And most of the guys responding were like, nobody, no one. I eat that, And I think that's sad. That is one of the ways, there's a lot of ways, but friendship and the way that women are able to communicate with each other and openly express that, I think, is one of the beautiful things that I love about being a woman, because I think that it can be a very lonely place for men, especially, and I understand, I'm not saying y'all gotta cry and watch Hallmark together, but you need someone that can relate to some of the things that you're going to open up, to bounce things off of. And I think it's very sad if you're holding back on a friendship because you think it looks zesty.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it all goes back to how we were raised, you know what I mean, to not be vulnerable. If we feel a certain kind of way about something, to just eat that and swallow that. So, I think we're overcoming that, and that's just generations of a specific mentality that a lot of us men, are accustomed to.
Well, when we come forward, we're going to get into this Jonathan Major story. Jonathan probably needs a good male friend. I'm going to think that. I'm being funny, but he might, but he has a good girlfriend, so a new one, Megan Good, shout out to her. We're going to get into all of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose AmeriCorps.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking. Now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. MJ Scott in the chat says, I've learned not to let radio make me hate great songs. This is how we do it. California Love, etc. I turn it off or down instead of listening to great songs too much. Yeah, I'm past that point. Again, if it's like in a group setting, a concert, a show or something, we'll get a toe tap, we'll get a beat. I know that they are great songs. I just don't want them, in my playlist currently right now. I can miss them. And I can miss them a lot more because they're such great songs. They are played a great deal, and they're played a great deal in commercials and stuff too. And so I could just do without. It's my own thing. Burnt myself out probably. Okay, so Jonathan Majors, by now he was found guilty on 2 misdemeanors out of 4 potential charges, right? And Disney wasted no time. They were like, it wasn't even a day. It wasn't even a half a day. They were like, and we're moving on. Thank you. So basically, we know that his character of Kang the Conqueror was introduced in Ant-Man and Wasp. He also was, I can't remember if it was Ant-Man and the Wasp first and then Loki or vice versa. But we know that there was a big arc plan for him. And I believe that this is Marvel Phase 5. And Kang the Conqueror was going to be the big baddie across several movie properties and obviously the shows as well. So they have made the decision not to move forward with him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Clearly, we don't know what that means for Kang the Conqueror in the films. I mean, they could recast it. They could go in a different direction. We're unclear what is going to happen at this point. There's been a few names that have been floated around, right? We have heard, Damson Idris. I saw someone tweet out John David Washington, J.D. Washington, as perhaps, or maybe they will just X that villain and figure out a different way to tidy things up and move around, right? But what happens with his career? So let's be clear. It was 2 misdemeanor counts of harassment and assault, but he was acquitted on the other 2 accounts. He was found not guilty on one count of intentional assault in the 3rd degree and aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. So the more serious charges. Do we think that Jonathan's career will have a resurgence or a comeback after this? My answer is maybe. Wait, Andy, you look like you have something to add.
You said it was Disney who got rid of him, or is this...
Well, Marvel and Disney are the same company.
Disney is... I think they lack sensitivity. Or
they're family friendly.
These are misdemeanors.
I agree.
And these, what, 2nd and 3rd degree? He'll bounce back.
I mean, and the thing is, because there's been a lot of conversation, what it makes it interesting, right, is like he was clearly, I'm not making any excuses. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not taking a side. I'm just saying what I observed. He was clearly trying to get away, right? I mean, he ran down several New York City blocks. Those are not short. Those are not quick blocks, right? And she was in high pursuit. He was trying to get away. I feel like he was trying to potentially avoid something bigger from happening, something more maybe violent. I don't know. But what I will say is what I saw from those videos are two toxic individuals, 2 people that needed to not be in a relationship with each other anymore, or if they were and they really plan to move forward together in dedication, into some therapy. Because let's be real, if you're just kind of dating, even if it's been a short time period, but you don't know if you're really headed to a future with this person, I don't know if you go to get counseling together. I think that might be a bit much. You may want to address yourself to figure out your anger issues or control or whatever. But I saw 2 people engaged in unhealthy activities with each other. We don't know what happened inside the car before that car door opened. We don't. But we know he was trying to get away. I don't know. Andy?
I think the courts are just making an example out of him.
I think so too.
You know what I'm saying? He's a black man, and unfortunately this person is a white woman. So, we're going to give you a slap on the wrist. I don't foresee him actually spending any real time.
I don't think so.
At the most, maybe some,
community
service or, some counseling type of situation. But they definitely want to make an example out of him. And I just think it's unfortunate from Disney and Marvel to get rid of him. It doesn't seem heinous like that to me,
right,
for him to be, removed. But hey, everybody has a way to run their business.
I think that, again, especially in the times that we are in, especially over the past 5 or so years with the Me Too movement and just the re-examination of old things, I think people act with an abundance of caution, right? And even though you could potentially give him the benefit of the doubt, because as you pointed out, the charges that he was convicted of, they were in an interaction. And some of these things can happen in defensive mode within the interaction. As Kendi points out, the driver said the woman in the car was attacking Majors. Again, we don't know. It could be the absolute gospel. Driver could be compromised. We don't know. And I'm not saying that has happened. I'm just saying we don't see what happened. But the end result, it looked like he was trying to diffuse it as best he could. Right? We tell men they should get away. You shouldn't. Again, without knowing what happened inside the car, I don't know outside of the car what more he could have done. That seemed to be the right move to me.
Do we know the racial makeup of the jurors?
I'm sure that it is somewhere. Let's see if we can get that information. Because some were saying that probably his arrogance in the courtroom might have been a turnoff to jurors. When Grace was on the stand reading her testimony, he allegedly pulled out a Bible and was reading from the Bible. I don't know. The antics, the theatrics, may not have went over too well. I don't know. But I think to your point, sometimes people know, like, oh, I don't know, but somebody has to take the fall. If we're going on an accountability scale, it seems like they're like 51% to you, 49% to you. So you got to pay for it, I don't know. So I do think, to your point, right? Time is very forgiving. I think Magazine Dreams I heard very good things about this film. This is the bodybuilding film that he did beforehand. We know that he lost before the case was even settled. He's lost, let me see how. Okay, so he's been dropped by his talent manager, Entertainment 360, his PR firm, the lead company. He's no longer involved with Protagonist Pictures film called The Man in My Basement. He had a major campaign with the U.S. Army that was pulled. He had a campaign with the Texas Rangers baseball team that was pulled as well. There was a project that was greenlit with Amazon for Spike Lee called The Understudy. And then there was the Dennis Rodman film 48 Hours in Vegas, which is about the 48 hours Dennis Rodman spent in Vegas during the Chicago Bulls playoff run back in the day. I think maybe when he married Carmen Electra, unsure, for Lionsgate. But both of those projects are in limbo. So they haven't been canceled, but they've been put on the back burner, right? We'll see what happens with them. We know that during the strike, for example, a lot of projects that were in limbo, unsure, ended up being canceled, either before the strike came back, before the actors and screenwriters came back from striking, or right when the strikes had broke. So it could be a money thing. We'll just have to see what happens. This one, though, obviously with Marvel is the biggest one, so to speak, right? I guess it started in 2021. They were supposed to start filming Kang the Conqueror film the top of next year. My gut says that they don't recast, that they find another way to write the villain out. Or here's the thing. Since Kang the Conqueror is part of the multiverse, right? Maybe it's just one of Kang's alter egos and it's somebody else. And then, like other things, 5 years from now, he can come back. And I'm not sure. I just think that it's also an interesting time in general for the Marvel franchise because they haven't been knocking it out of the park. So we'll have to see, what happens. Some people are also upset at Megan Good that she was like, I'm going to stick beside him. And, the reports are that they are closer than ever after having gone through this situation. And people are upset. They think that she could have made a better pick.
Are these people black?
Some of them, yeah. Yeah. They feel like, and see, here's the other thing, right? Because Jonathan was with a white woman, right? Or another, some feel that him strategically getting involved with Megan was to counter that aspect of it and to make sure he had the support of black women. Because let's be honest, he did kind of hide his significant other in the most recent times. He wasn't bringing her on the carpet. If he was, they were, he didn't have her arm in arm with him. And he is not the only black actor to utilize that. Jay Ellis, that is Lawrence from Insecure, his now wife, they were dating throughout that process, and he kind of tried to keep it low. Not completely hidden, but he saw the reaction. So there's a lot of different layers at play when it comes to stuff to this. And then here's the thing, too, with what happened. Maybe Jonathan makes his resurgence in a black project instead of a big mainstream project, right? Because we accept our own. And we do oftentimes provide a soft place to land. So it will be interesting to see what develops because he is such a talent. Magazine Dreams, already in the can, got so much positive feedback, during the oh God, I just blanked. What is it called? The film festival circuit that it was on earlier this year. So I can't see them. I mean, they could, but I can't see them just taking a loss on the film, right? I think that people are forgiven, though. We have to see. That's the same comment. So we'll just have to see what develops with him. He's obviously a talent. I do think, to your point, though, Andy, they're misdemeanors. And a lot of people saw the video and are kind of indifferent about it. So I don't think it's like a Ray Rice thing. Obviously, two different industries, but similar notions. I don't think it's anything like that. I think that eventually he'll be able to get past it. And there's so many things that are coming out in other areas that it'll get buried. It'll get clouded. Megan's TV show Harlem has been picked up for a third season, which will mean that she will be in New York filming if they already haven't started. So, we'll see how that develops. But I don't know. I think that he'll be okay. I do. And I'm not saying, look, again, don't have a dog in the fight. Don't know what happened inside the vehicle. From what I saw outside of the vehicle, didn't look as intense as some have said. And we have heard, though, that there were other incidents prior, and that probably is shading some people's viewpoints. So when we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
The beach party, so call up your girlfriends, and they're always tends to be an ugly one, but bring her two. Fat or skinny, she likes to shoot with Montel in the SL2, while the beat is bumping from South Central to Compton. A little something could very well be the next Aaron Neville, sounding like nobody 'cause I'm on another level, and you fellas can't dig it with a show.
Here's to a holiday season full of peace, joy, and happiness. Happy Kwanzaa from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The National Museum of African American History and Culture will open its first Kwanzaa display next week. Museum officials will have the display in Heritage Hall from December 26th to January 1st. Created in 1966, Kwanzaa is a 7-day celebration that begins the day after Christmas and is rooted in celebrations found in cultures throughout Africa in both ancient and modern times. The families of two women who were killed in Bridgeport, Connecticut on the same day 2 years ago are suing the city for over $30 million each. The families of Brenda Lee Rawls and Lauren Smith Fields were not notified of their deaths by the city in a timely manner after they died in December 2021. The lawsuit alleges that the city did not make a prompt notification of the families because the women were black. The state has passed a law requiring prompt death notifications in response to these cases. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the Accident Guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? The Accident Guys have helped over 5,000 injured clients with an impressive winning record.
It's the gift-giving season, and we have a gift for you. Visit us online at KBLA.store for holiday savings of 20% off all of our KBLA swag. For the best in merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store right now. And be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all our official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580, at 20% off, but only during the holiday season. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Did you know that every year, public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Go to donorschoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, music, and more. Learn more at donorschoose.org.
Donors Choose. Support a classroom.
Build a future. Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by December 31st at coveredca.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
King C. Gillette knows you're dedicated to your barbershop routine, but how do you maintain the beard hair you already have? The King C. Gillette Beard Thickener helps to reduce patchiness and strengthens hair's resilience to breakage. Apply the King C. Gillette Beard Thickener daily to see a thicker and fuller beard in just 14 days. It's highly scented with King C. Gillette's signature scent. Just trim, wash, and soften. With King C. Gillette.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, baby. I'm coming home, but to give you some more. Yeah. You better be ready when I walk through the door. Put it in the drill, don't ask no questions. You already know.
Tonight's the night, girl. I'm trying to give you that
thing to make you say yes. From the kitchen floor down to the fireplace, yes. Incense burning your body, talking that shit to me. Cancel that phone, yes. The only sound I'm trying to hear is your moan, yes. You riding topless, no long, yes. And I've been thinking about this all day long. You're giving me the fire, don't give you some more, yeah. You better be ready when I walk through the door.
Welcome back into hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, Urban Spinster's in the chat dropping tea. She said, I ran into Jay Ellis and his then girlfriend while they were doing home renovations. He looked spooked, as if me and my coworker would recognize him and have an issue or be starstruck. And I'm going to say respectfully, I believe that because it's almost like a boogeyman, right? For certain actors, because it's a complex situation when your fan base is comprised mostly of Black women and your dating choices are not. No, you are not obligated to date based off of what your fans primarily, their race primarily is, or what they would like you to be. But, you know, people understand their power now, or at least their perceived power, and they get active a little bit. You know, they can decide. Now, how many people have really been canceled? Probably a handful, but they can decide to shift their focus and attention away, right? We've seen it happen. So there are some actors that have made it a point to try and keep their relationships a little lower under the radar, just so that they don't have to deal with, we can call it negativity sometimes, you know, backlash, opinions, unsolicited opinions. That's a good one. If you think about Omari Hardwick, you know, Ghost from Power, he was pretty vocal in some interviews. As a matter of fact, I interviewed him one time, and he talked about some of the difficulty that he felt as far as, you know, loving and respecting his fans, but them not exactly being on the same page with him as far as his choice in a wife, which, you know, again, obviously not really our business, but we got platforms now, so we want to get all up in it. I don't know. I've seen a lot of commentary that says, oh, Jonathan Majors is probably never going to date another white woman. We don't know that. We don't. Do you know what I'm saying? But what I can say is that it does seem like that when Black women are involved in these situations, we don't get the benefit of the doubt. We get hit a little bit harder with the blame. You know, it's just life. You just got to be prepared for all areas and all ways. But I don't think, I think that this story will blow over for some relatively quickly as far as Jonathan's concerned. And relative is, you know, relative. It depends, but I just think that there's so many other things in the atmosphere that are happening that are higher profile or with more salacious details, that this is just a small bump in the road. And what we learned from this is when you see those red flags pop up early and you're feeling like you are in your Barack Obama, Martin Luther King moment, cut those losses, man. Don't try and see if you can work them out. Let them go, because it's not going to come back to you in a great way. Okay. So listen, we know Boosie, right? Boosie always has a lot to say, correct? Well, listen. He weighed in on the Cassie and Diddy situation, right? And what he kind of boiled it down to, in his opinion, is that Cassie was either traumatized or loved every minute of it. And on one hand, it's like, well, yeah, right? Those are pretty much the only options, right? But one, Boosie, maybe you should sit this one out. Because he also did it in a Vlad TV interview. And I know Vlad is paying bucks. And again, I'm not mad at Vlad, right? Because these people willingly go and sit down with him and have these conversations. And I get it, he's paying, but they willingly have them. So what can you do, right? He seemingly does some form of research, and they feel comfortable enough where they want to brag or open up or express things. So the stuff that comes from it, again, there's been a lot of conversations over the past couple of weeks about interviews and who has access for interviews. And when things come out, there was talk about Nicki Minaj and who she chose to give interviews to with her album release. We saw a lot of conversation about that. Funny enough, I don't know if you guys caught this, but the other day, Sexy Red dropped in on The Breakfast Club, and Jess Hilarious was there as the guest co-host. So there was a good lesson in this, and the lesson is about communication. So Sexy Red did not speak to Jess, right? And she said because Jess is shady. She said something shady, like something shady, but Sexy Red never articulated what it was that Jess supposedly said or did. She just kept saying, I don't like that shady stuff. I'm not the one. And she wanted to ignore her. And Jess was like, well, let's talk about it. What did I say? She was like, I may have made a joke, but I like your music. I'm, kind of the real thing, the thing that we talk about. What are your thoughts with that? Because I see a lot of it where everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't say this. You shouldn't make jokes on this. And not that I don't understand. And everybody's humor level is at a different place. But if you're in a professional setting, right? Do you just go in and not speak to the person? Do you try and talk about it and understand where the rift will be? Do you accept their apology? I don't know. I just think we're in an interesting place as far as media and the talent and the critiques and things of that nature. Like, you've seen people like get mad, curse people out over their commentary about the album. And I'm not talking about somebody's just like, you're whack, you're awful, just downgrading it. But if people have legitimate critiques, or maybe they just aren't feeling it, is that enough for you to ice them out? Do they have to effectively kiss your behind in order to have a conversation with you about the art, the product? It seems kind of unfair to me. I get it. Who wants to talk to someone that doesn't like you? Who wants to talk to someone that you feel doesn't appreciate your art? But I also think that there's a lot that can be learned or gauged from those type of situations. And two, you're promoting your stuff anyway. Somebody sitting there might not like it. Somebody sitting there may. And it's just par for the course. It seems counterproductive to me, at least, to always meet with people or speak with people that are 100% in agreement on you. First of all, that's not a real thing. It doesn't seem real to me. And if they are, you better check them because something's shady with that. And two, I just think that there's nothing wrong with dialogue. When we come forward, we're going to have more dialogue. We're going to get into more trending topics. There is a wedding day refund story that you guys are not going to want to miss. All of that, plus a couple of more trending topics. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
There are many things to love about winter. Cozy sweaters, celebrations, and family time. But winter can also bring many stressors, extra expenses, seasonal bugs, and so much family time. If you and your loved ones are feeling stressed or anxious this winter, CalHope can help. Check out our free mental health resource at calhope.org today.
Today, young adults face big questions about their future. How will you make your mark? Do you want to be part of something bigger than yourself? Are you ready to learn new skills and make new friendships? Perhaps you have a dream that you're ready to make real. So, how will you make a mark with your future? As you embark on a journey toward finding these answers, the military can serve as a resource for providing help, information, and opportunities. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit today'smilitary.com.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, save over $40 on a Werner 6-foot stepladder. Was $115, now just $69.98. And there's more. Get up to 30% off select kitchen cabinet orders. Visit us in-store or online for more deals you can't beat. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 12/7 to 12/13 on item number 98148. While supplies last. Minimum purchase and exclusions apply. See associate for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So you know the chat has some feedback, and I love the chat on YouTube. They always keep us active. So Pretty Brown Mimi says, they don't have to hide their non-black partners. Most black women, we don't care. I wouldn't want to be someone's little secret. I wouldn't either. Well, the flip side of that is I'm the same person that says that I don't really want my relationships on social media. I think the idea that you would be hiding me because of race would be uncomfortable, not just because you have one. And I do think about how those significant others in those relationships probably feel about that. But I'm sure, they probably get in the Coretta Scott King speech too. Baby, we are trying to go somewhere. And I need you to understand and just ride with me right now. Those evil black women. No, I'm just like, but something to that effect, They're not going to stand in our way. But right now, we just have to do it like this. We've seen it. We hear about it, but we definitely see it. And it's unfortunate, not that I don't understand where some of it is coming from, but it's a complicated thing. It's an overcorrection. I think black women have felt that they have been taken for granted as far as, their fandom, the idea that black women should mule came from somewhere, right? And a lot of people look at the evolution of hip hop and acting and, how we seem to be getting pushed to the side for others, and they want to take a stance, right? And you have your right to take a stance about whatever you want to. Seemingly, you have a right to vote with your dollars. I don't know if you should go to that extreme, but it's a personal choice, and you make that fit. Pretty Round Mimi also says Amari was kind of delulu. We weren't sending his wife hateful online messages. Well, somebody was, and he said it was y'all. So, hopefully we move past that, though. Kendi says fans wanting to dictate who you sleep with is mad weird. It is, but at the same time, you have to think about positioning. And this goes for male or female stars. If you are positioned as a sex symbol or as someone that is desirable, people are obviously going to project themselves or an image that is similar to themselves into that space next to you. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's part of the marketing. That is part of how they are selling you to the public. That is why, if you think back to like the boy bands back in the day, they never wanted them to admit that they had girlfriends because it would lessen the fantasy for the young girls. And, even though 98% of the fans aren't going to cross paths or be in contact with these individuals, there is 2% that feel like they might, and that they might be in contention for a relationship. And so I think I've talked a little bit about the whole thing of the teeny bopper aspect, which started in the 1940s with Frank Sinatra and grew from there. But I mean, shout out to Wellington, New Zealand in the building, BT616. We appreciate it. It's just a changing of attitudes and mindsets. Kendi also says parasocial is the new term I'm hearing for it, and it applies. People need to touch grass and quickly. They do. But, well, Kendi, I want to ask you, because you're in this age range. Here in California, it's said that between 18 and 29, they are not only not communicating as much, linking up with the opposite sex, they're not having sex in general, right? And so I think that there is a connection problem. I think that people aren't talking to one another like they used to. I think that there are so many things that you can utilize to distract, or things that you can use to make yourself feel closer to someone when you really aren't. Sharing memes with each other is a love language, but sitting in the same room sharing memes and not really talking to each other, how are you connecting? I mean, I'm sure you are, but it's in a different format, Fahima says, what's Stephen A. Smith's speech to his hidden woman sound like? I mean, you got to stand on the other side. Here's the thing. I've seen, and I don't know how serious this person was, I've seen Stephen A. out with a woman before, a couple times during All-Star, naturally. Attractive woman. Age appropriate. I do want to say that. Age appropriate if, people have those questions. I think that it's a catch-22. You do want to protect the sanctity of your relationship. I, as someone who, as I've stated many times, do not want my relationships on social media just because I think it's a lot. But I understand those that feel like it's sneaky or that you're hiding something. I think that one thing that has messed us up with social media is the entitlement. And I think to a small degree, we all have it when it comes to this stuff. You're not necessarily entitled access to all of these things, And just because we have been, or people allow it to do so, realistically, at any given time, if they decide, I don't want to let you in the group chat anymore, they can. Now, in theory, we can't get mad at it. We can. We do. But we're not supposed to. We're supposed to move along and, like Kendi says, touch grass. Hey, Kendi, share this show with your friends. Tell them to come along. We'd like to hear more what they have to say about it. But I feel like Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe, and listening to them talk more and more, because there was a conversation on the nightcap between Shannon Sharpe, Deion Sanders, and Chad Ochocinco Johnson about a woman passing gas during sex. Deion was like, absolutely not. It can't happen. She would never be called back again. Shannon said, it's okay. He told her I usually make them do something else, not just that. So it's cool. He respected it as a man, which is interesting because this is the same man who said that he does not want his woman to take care of business, the second line of business, when he's around. So, I think that I bring up Stephen A. and Shannon and Dion because they're all about the same age, about 55 years old. And I think Gen X black men of that age range have a certain thought process. A lot of it is misogynistic. It's old school, but that's just the way they think about some of these things. So I'm not surprised to hear them say it. I'm just surprised to hear them say it in 2023 with the vigor that they do, because most people are like, you guys are almost 60. You should be more mature than that. I mean, look, Dion said he's been placed into the portal right now, the transfer portal. He's saying that because Tracy broke up with him. But, they out in these streets hot. And I wonder if they're having these conversations with women that are age appropriate, because I understand them having these conversations when they were in their 20s and 30s, but in your 50s, y'all, some of the stuff, I don't know. Seems like you're doing a lot. Peterman says Jonathan Majors is being used as a scapegoat by Disney. Love from Jerusalem, Israel. Well, shout out for Jerusalem, Israel checking in. Appreciate that. I don't know. The franchise, Marvel, is in general has some adjustments to make. So I don't know if he's so much a scapegoat as the fact that they are a Disney company when it comes down to it. And there are certain things that Disney does not play with, not in the 100 years of their existence. So we will have to see. Kendi says, I will tell you one thing. I don't meet people on social media. That's weird. You don't even know these people. I can appreciate a good picture, but that's where it ends with me. I'm not mad at people meeting on social media. It's a different time, but you do have to move a little more carefully. Fahima says, Jill, you Google, you're going to be out of sight for us. All right. Stephen A. Smith out loud. And Kendi says, I'll never forget hooking up with a girl and she was texting some other guy. Hey, man. Social media has made it really easy to move around and to move in spaces and places that we could not before, and to feel like you have more connections with people with less time spent in reality. We'll have to see what happens. So, listen. That's it for tonight. Make sure that you are locked in tomorrow, 9 p.m. Pacific time, for more trending topics, more headlines. Coming up, we have the best of KBLA on the other side. You have an amazing night, and I appreciate you as always, VIPs.
I don't feel like being lonely tonight. You see, I want some company. You look like you're just my type. You're the kind whose spirits are running free. Let's take a sip of some cold, cold wine.